Hi, Dr. Henry. I wanted to ask you about enforcement measures. This weekend, several police departments are telling us that they, issued warnings, but also some fines to people who are just not following the rules. I'm wondering what you think of that and what you think of the enforcement actions undertaken by the province.
Yeah, so, we've said from the beginning that we are focusing on giving people the tools and telling them what we need them to do and why, and focusing on supporting people to do the right thing. But we do know, and we've seen this, that there are situations where we know this virus is now being transmitted, and repeatedly. And we've talked about the concerns that we have, particularly around private parties. We made some changes to what happens in bars and restaurants, around events. We've made some changes to what people can do in vacation properties. And I think this is an unfortunate but necessary step to make sure that those small number of people who are breaking the rules, despite being warned, despite putting people at risk, particularly in our own communities, our own families, that we have some tools that we can use to support enforcement as well. So I think that is the right thing to do, and I think it's been used in the right way, very judiciously. We want to do it in a progressive way for those who really are breaking the rules intentionally.
Do you have a follow-up, Binder?
I do, and I guess a couple of the places were event spaces that were fined on the weekend in Surrey, and banquet halls are also saying that they either should be shut down so they're not put in a tough position with people who are booking their spaces, or wondering if you'd consider allowing them to have more people attend event spaces if they follow all the protocols.
Yeah, so we've had requests for reconsideration of the order around the number of people at events from the banquet community, and we've responded to them. And the answer from my perspective, given that I'm the one who wrote the orders, that it is like the events that we have in every other situation. And right now, for consistency across the board, we are staying at 50. And that is for a variety of reasons. It's one, to ensure that physical distancing measures can be put in place with that number, and that we can follow up with people rapidly with a small number if there's a small number of people who are potentially exposed. So there is a variety of reasons why we have stayed with that number consistently through the last few months as we've restarted, and there's good reasons for doing that. We've seen cases that have arisen in other places. We know when there's more people than that, the chances of somebody coming in with the virus and potentially spreading it go up dramatically, and we've seen what happens with that when we look at parties that were happening, for example, on the long weekend in July and again in August. We've also seen it at places like religious gatherings, and right now we have a number of people in the north who attended a large religious gathering in Alberta where cases were spread. So no, there's no opportunity in my mind right now. We need to continue to hold the line that we're holding, and that includes for any event, whether it's in a banquet hall, whether it's in a church, whether it's in a restaurant or a bar.
In British Columbia, we don't have a lot of rules, but this is one of the main ones, and I wouldn't expect any relaxation of it. The answer is to the request is simply no, not because we don't understand the value of banquet halls and the services they provide, but these are especially the kind of events that we have to address right now, and we've seen that as we look case by case through new cases, the need to continue to hold the line on public gatherings at 50, and that's going to continue to happen for a good long period in front of us. And I also want to say to people, in particular people who are hosting special events such as weddings, maybe parties for hockey games and other things, that this is especially important for them. These are, of course, critical events in people's lives. Events such as weddings or stuff are events that one plans for, in many cases, years in advance. But it would be absolutely catastrophic and the wrong way to start a life together, to be involved in an event that spread COVID-19 right now. These are the rules right now, and they simply have to be followed. They have to be followed by everybody, and we'll continue to. I think we'll continue for some time, some significant time into the future, to say no to requests to relax those rules.
What will it take for you to start rolling back current openings if this new method of finding people doesn't work? Are you giving yourself a time limit for how long are we going to let these numbers keep spiking before we take further action?
Yeah, so no, there's not a time limit and there's not one thing. What we've tried to do and what we will continue to do is look at where are we seeing transmissions happening, and we do that through public health. So we've seen it in certain settings in nightclubs, for example, and we added additional measures. We engaged with the people who work in that industry. We've shut down certain nightclubs when they have not been able to make those safety standards. So it's the same. We will approach it in the same way and take additional measures and adjust and modify as we need. You know, the shutting down is not an answer to things. What we need to do is figure out how to do all that we want to do in our society safely for the next year, maybe longer.